Hi Shogi fans, today I'd like to do a video on a strategy called Oblique Climbing Silver. It's one of the variations in the Jouseki called Yamada's Jouseki. And this Oblique Climbing Silver contains really fundamental theories on rapid attack against fourth-while rook defense. So it's really essential for learning rapid attack. So let's get focused and make sure you understand all the things in this video. Now, what you can see on the screen here is the basic position of silver on left to 5G rapid attack. And if you're not familiar with how we can get to this position, find one of my videos with the title Silver on the left to 5G rapid attack. And make sure you understand before you see this video. So this position is white to move, and in the video that I've just mentioned, I told you white basically has 4 possible moves: pawn 6d, pawn 5d, and silver 4c, and lance 1b. And what we're focusing on today is this, pawn to 6d. And this is a really natural move that is made by Mino castle side, because this pawn push reinforces this king's weak point, this diagonal, and we often call this square king's temple. It's pretty much a weak point of the king. So this pawn blocks this diagonal and prevents future threats by his opponent's bishop, for instance. So now after white made this move, pawn to 6d, this is where you can try this strategy called Oblique Climbing Silver. Now the idea of this strategy, Oblique Climbing Silver, is to develop this silver diagonally and try to make a pawn exchange here, and moreover you want to attack on the second file by making best use of that silver. So this is why it's called Oblique Climbing Silver. This silver wants to advance diagonally. So if that's the basic idea, one thing you can think of here is just moving the silver to 4f, preparing to make a pawn exchange in the third file. But this move is not really good, because white can now push this pawn at any time he wants. Now your silver's attacked, so let's say you get back. Well, this means that you have just lost 2 moves, and it's an awful thing to do. So actually just moving the silver to 4f doesn't work. So the first move you make that characterizes this Oblique Climbing Silver is this move. You push the third file pawn to 3e first, and after white took it, and then you advance the silver to 4f. A very interesting move sequence. So now this time the silver can just advance to 3e, taking the pawn. So attacking the silver here with pawn to 4e doesn't work. Black can just take the third file pawn. But well, this is not the best way, because white can make a bishop trade. And look at this. The king moves into a very vulnerable position, always being in danger to opponent's bishop attacks. So when white pushes the fourth file pawn, black makes a bishop trade from his side. White will take it with the silver, trying to defend the second file, and then black can take the third file pawn. So that was the first important part of this strategy, making pawn gambit first and then move the silver. Now after this position, it will turn out to be a little bit good position for black, but it's not so easy. Most natural move for white would be dropping the pawn to 3d. And now when you have this kind of position, don't think about withdrawing your silver. It's really meaningless. What you should think about here is to ignore that attack. Go ahead on the second file. Now if he takes the silver, it's alright. You can promote the pawn. Silver runs, but you have this beautiful sacrifice, and if he takes it, your rook can promote, and it's a disaster for white. So when you ignore that pawn drop to 3d, white will just have to take it. So you can make a silver exchange here. Now, what do you think White's next move here is? Yeah, I'm sure you can find this. Silver drop to 3c. A powerful fork. But now Black can just take the knight. And this is an important part. Most of you might be thinking the bishop will immediately take the lance. But that's not what he's going to do. If he does that, Black can just drop a silver, preventing the horse from getting back, participating in the game. Horse runs, but then bishop drop, threatening to capture the horse and controlling this nice diagonal at the same time. White can save his horse by, for instance, dropping a lance here. Now the silver cannot move to here, right? But anyway, look at how the efficiencies of this dragon and rook are different. So this position is definitely good for Black. So actually, at this position, White won't just take the lance here. He has a much better move. It's this, rook to 2b, offering a rook trade. Now all of a sudden, White is threatening to promote his rook as well. So the best thing Black can do is to just take it. So bishop takes it back, and still threatening to take the lance. So Black blocks it with a bishop, for instance, attacking the bishop, but White can just take it. Now White can drop the rook first, but here the important thing is that this knight can escape, and White can't take the knight. So if you look at the material balance here, Black is up by one knight. So this position is believed to be good for Black. After rook promotes, Black can even make this wonderful defense, bottom pawn, and this knight can even keep advancing. Alright, now, so let's get back to the position where Black started the attack. Here, now we've seen how this pawn gambit works for Black. Oh, by the way, at this position, there's a possibility that White doesn't take it and just move this silver to here. So you should at least know how to reply to this move. Well, you might want to take the pawn, but it's not really good. You can attack by the rook, but gold will come up, and White will create a strong pressure to Black's pieces. So what Black should do here is just move the rook to the third file, not letting the silver come up, and after the pawn is taken, you make a similar attack by the silver. And actually, this position happens to be an exactly same position that you can find in another strategy that is called Saginomiya's attack. And this position is believed to be good for Black. We're gonna cover Saginomiya's attack in my other videos, so let's not go into that for now. Well, anyway, White is most likely to just take it. Answer to 4f. So we've seen how this attack works, but that's not the end of the story. White has a really good countermeasure for this, which brings us into the primary Jouseki line, is this. Pawn 3f, not letting Black take it. Well, it's a logical move. Black sacrificed a pawn prior to his silver's advance, so he can just save his pawn, right? Now at this position, what should Black do? Well, now the Jouseki goes silver to 3e, advancing the silver anyway, not caring about whether he can take the pawn or not. And Black is trying to attack the second file here. Oh, and in one of my previous videos, one of the viewers gave me a question, why do we attack with the left silver? Why not attacking with the right silver and keep the left silver for King's Castle? Well, that's a very good question, and the reason is what you see on the screen now. It has to be left silver if you want to advance it to 3e at this position. Let's see what happens if it was the right silver. Oh, sorry. Let's say you attacked with the same tactic with the right silver. pawn 3f, the silver advances. Now look at this. The 3g square is not protected. So here, white can make a pawn promotion sack. And then drop another pawn to here. Let's say black went ahead on the second file, but he loses the knight. Rook runs, and then he can drop the knight he just got to here, protecting the second file. So attacking with the right silver doesn't work. Okay. So now let's get back to the main subject. Sorry about getting off track so often. So at this position, something's different than what you've seen. Is this pawn. Well, this pawn in 3f makes a huge differences between what you've already seen and what you're gonna see from now. So now white has to do something about the second file. But yes, in the Jouseki, now white opens the bishop's diagonal and get rid of the silver threat on the bishop. So black takes the bishop and silver takes, and let's say black went ahead with the second file. White accepts the silver exchange, and then yes, the same line goes. Bishop 3c, rook promotes, white offers a rook trade, black has to take it, black blocks it, but white takes it and drops a rook to 2g. Now look at this position. Now you see the huge difference. This pawn is preventing the knight from escaping, and this makes a big difference. Now the material balance is still one knight up for black, but white's gonna be able to take this knight anyway, so material balance is actually equal. So because of the differences in the hardness of the castles, this position is believed to be good for white. You see, in Shogi, small difference makes sometimes a huge difference. And talking about a small difference making a huge difference, let me talk about some aside matters again. It's here. Black just dropped the bishop here, and it turned out to be bad position for black. But what happens if black was playing fourth file rook? I mean, let's suppose this side was black, and this side, is the static rook side, was white. So the position can be a bit different, and there's a possibility that before starting a battle, this pawn was already here. And let's suppose you went for the similar move, and now white has, I mean, it's black now. Black has moved the bishop here. Well, in this case, blocking it with the knight would be a very powerful counterattack, threatening to make a powerful check. So in this case, it's not so bad for static rook side. So Shogi Jouseki is really difficult. A slight difference sometimes make a huge difference. Okay, too many aside matters, sorry. So let's get back to the primary subject. Where was I? Yeah, so it's here. We've learned how this pawn on 3f makes a big difference and makes it a good position for white. Now, does that mean this oblique climbing silver doesn't work? No, it's not that. Actually, black again has a countermeasure for that. And that will finally bring us to the Jouseki moves. Well, it's here. After you made the bishop trade here, the Jouseki goes bishop to 8h, or sometimes to 7g. It's really difficult to say which is better, but it's more likely to be on 8h. So this is the Jouseki's move. Now the meaning of this drop is, now black is threatening again to attack on the second file on the next move. Because if black does that and make a silver exchange here, this bishop is preventing white's bishop drop on 3c, right? So now you've seen all the Jouseki moves up to here. So let's go over them again. from this position, after pawn to 6d, pawn gambit on the third file, advance the silver, pawn goes ahead, but silver goes ahead too. White offers a bishop trade, and then black drops the silver to 8h. Okay, now white has to do something about the second file. So there are basically 3 candidate moves for white here, all of them being pretty deliberate moves. One is rook to 4a, a very interesting move. It's hard to see the meaning of that move, but anyway, this move is thought to be not really good. So the other 2, one of them is this, bishop drop to 5d, also hard to see what it means at first. And last one is this, pawn to 6e, a really interesting and deliberate move too. And we're gonna take a look at what happens after each of these moves in my other videos. So that's all for this video. Hope it's been helpful. So take care and see you next time.